Train Lover 1974 presents the Knapford Express. It was a beautiful day on the island of Sodor. Many of the engines were excited. It was a busy time of the year, especially since Halloween was coming up. The engines were very excited for their annual ghost stories they'd be telling. Edward, however, was a bit more quiet around this time of year than usual. The engines had to admit he went through something weird a few months ago, yet he never talked about it. But little did they know, the engines would find out the truth that night. Nighttime soon came and the engines were extremely excited for their ghost storytelling. I wonder what Edward's going to be telling us this year. Maybe it'll be a story about a fog man. Huh, that's stupid, Henry. Maybe he'll tell us about a ghost train at the ironworks. Hasn't he already told us that before? Yeah, and that was the time when Thomas got scared. That was one time. Enough. Edward soon rolled onto the turntable. So, you all want a ghost story this year, am I correct? Yes. Well, I have an interesting story to tell you all. And the story happens to be based on a true event. The engines were silent. Would you all like to hear it? Of course, Edward. We would love to hear it. Yes. All right then. This story goes back to when the Northwestern Railway was first established. Back when it was just me and Thomas, and another engine would soon show up. Thomas went pale. I didn't think Edward was going to tell this story. Are you all right, Thomas? I'm fine, Duck. Sorry, Edward. It's all right, Thomas. If you're not comfortable, you can leave. No. I'll be here with you, Edward. Thank you, Thomas. Now, as I said, this story goes back to when it was just me and Thomas when the Northwestern Railway was just being established. Back in those days, it was very different. Back then, it was only me and Thomas. We were the first engines purchased. Thomas became number 1, while I became number 2. There was also a terrier. His name was Sudbury. He had been actually built on the island of Sodor, based on the LBSCR tank engine from the LBS region. It was just us three working the line. However, we did have our problems, such as the express was beginning to get heavier and heavier, and more coaches needed to be required. Sudbury was barely able to keep up with the workload along the Brendan branch, after most of the Wellsworth and Sudbury and the Sodor and Mainland engines were sent away. The final straw for me was that when we got brand new types of express coaches, these coaches I unfortunately wasn't able to handle on my own. I was simply being overworked. Sudbury was barely able to keep up with his work, and Thomas had been made the station pilot, so we needed a proper goods engine. So it was decided that I would become the goods engine. But Sir Topham Hatt needed to find a new express engine first, and soon he would find one. Good morning, engines. Good morning, sir. I understand you've all been busy. Sudbury, you'll be going away for an overhaul soon. Thomas, you've been doing good with the shunting. And Edward, you will officially be made our new goods engine. Really, sir? Of course, and you also still be pulling passenger trains. But, sir, who will handle the express? That I have handed to a new express engine we have purchased. He's been named after one of our stations, and he is extremely fast. Say hello to the Knapford Express. Charmed to meet you all. Aren't you based on that, GWR engine, City of Churro? Yes, that's my brother. However, I am not him. I am the City of Knapford, or the Knapford Express, which I will be pulling. Now, City of Knapford. You can call me, Knapford, I guess, for short, or Nappa. Nappa. Alright then, Nappa. You will officially be in charge of the Wild Northwester, or the Knapford Express as you want to call it. Edward will be handling goods from now on. Now I want no rough play with the coaches. You will handle them with care. Edward will show you what to do. Yes, sir. Right. Everyone, your normal jobs as always. Sudbury, you will be going off for your overhaul. Yes, sir. And Sudbury had set off. So Tom and Pat then walked back to his office, as me and Thomas got acquainted with the new engine. So, you're the city of Knapford. Wow, I can't believe we actually got a new express engine. Huh, pathetic. Excuse me? I think you heard me, old iron. Whoa, that's no way to talk to my best friend. Huh, and you're not one to talk either. In LBSCR E2, I heard your class was a failure. Hey, that's no way to talk to him. And you're no better, a Furnace K2. You guys could never match my speed. My brother was able to reach 100 miles per hour, long before your class did. Well, excuse me, we don't prioritize speed when it comes to the express. We prioritize speed and care. Whatever. I'm going to be beating the record in this region in no time. I'll show you all what a real express engine can do. I got a bad feeling about this, Edward. So do I, Thomas. So do I. And we had every right to be. City of Knapford was determined to beat the speed record of the island and prove to himself he was better than all of us. I would mostly see him while pulling my morning goods trains. He would be thundering down the lane at speeds I had never seen. Slow down, Speedy! But he would never listen. But no matter how hard he tried, he was never able to beat the record. Over the years, City and Knapford began to get a little older, so Topham had plans of getting another express engine, but he didn't know who. Henry was soon brought in to sort of replace him, but, of course, as you know, back then with his old shape, he wasn't suited for the express. So City and Knapford stayed on. But after that, he went down a dark path. He began to take dangerous risks that almost cost the lives of engines. Alright, just have to switch over. Whoa! Watch it, Speed! You ran a red signal! Jeez. He now thought winning the speed record was all he needed to be able to stay on the express. But little did he know, that would lead to unforeseen consequences. It was late one night. He was running late with the express as he had to wait for the mainline connection. Soon, the K2 soon arrived. He mocked him. You are old-fashioned and out of date. Why, I ought to put you into your place eventually. I hope you get into an accident and die. The K2 was offended. However, he wouldn't realize it wasn't the K2 that would end up into an accident. The engine ran down the line at extremely dangerous speeds. Napa, you need to slow down. You're going to get yourself into a crash. I'm gonna beat the record, and I will maintain my title as the express engine of the Northwestern Railway. I am the Knapford Express! However, he never realized he was entering towards the Knapford station. Alright, that's these tank... What the? Napa? Napa, you need to slow down. You're entering the station limits! Napa! He didn't listen. Oh gosh, slam on the brakes! Wait, what? Oh no! Napa slammed on his brakes. But it was far too late. And worst of all, he was sent down the wrong track. Alright, these should be good for Thomas's goods train later. Look out! Oh no! Help! I was in the sheds at the time when I heard a massive explosion. What was that? There's been an accident at the station. We need to head there now. I felt a drop in my firebox as I went to the station. When I finally arrived, I saw nothing but chaos. Thomas was trying to help clear up the mess. There was flames everywhere. The coaches were all battered and bruised, nearly destroyed. The old coaches that were sitting on the first platform were completely destroyed. There was no sign of Sudbury, and Knapford was a burning wreckage of what was once a proud express engine. The next morning, the accident's true verity was everywhere. Some of the coaches had been slammed so far in the back they were completely destroyed. The tankers that Sudbury was shunting were destroyed, and only one of Knapford Express coaches was staying on the rails. Henry, at the time, came to take it away. Only one coach out of the 4 he was carrying. I was on standby, as Thomas was helping remove the wreckage from within the station. Sir Topham had arrived that morning, horrified at the sight, and deeply saddened. When the accident was finally all cleared up, Sudbury unfortunately didn't survive it. Neither did 300 lives who died in the station and on Knapford Express's train. Sudbury's remains were taken to the Sudbury scrapyards. But as for the Knapford Express, or Napa, Knapford had been completely destroyed in the accident. There was barely anything left of him. All that was left was the rusted husk of what was once a steam engine and a tender. Sir Tom had ordered me to take it away to the scrapyards, and I did. I said under my breath, "Don't say I didn't warn you." But exactly 1 year after the accident, it was seen, and has been seen ever since. However, it is said that he is still roaming the rails to this day, as I have said. But why? Well, some say he's looking for a way to finally move on. Others say he's still trying to beat that speed record. Ha! As if he could beat my record now. You do have a point, Gordon. You technically did beat the record. But, as some people say, he's still trying to beat it himself. And it's said he won't ever move on until he finally beats the record. He'll continue to roam the rails at night, stopping at various stations, trying to make up for his mistakes, but most importantly, to always try to beat that speed record he so desperately wanted to. Or do something worse. Edward gave a long blow on his whistle and the engine shocked. It seems I haven't lost my touch, have I, guys? Indeed you haven't, Edward. That was a really good story. Strange I don't remember it, though. I would have remembered something that big. You were only a bit young around that time, Henry. Plus, also, you weren't on the island as long to know Knapford Express that well. I remember him. You do, Thomas? Yes, I do. I remember him very clearly. I was there during the accident. Well, we're so sorry, Thomas. It's fine. It was a long time ago. But I do wish we could have saved Sudbury. He was such a good engine. We all wish that, Thomas. But Sudbury's in a better place now. Now, I must be off. I have a nighttime train to take to Brendam. I'll be back later on, everyone. Thank you for the story, Edward. No problem. Edward soon buffered onto the mail train, ready to take it onwards to Brendam. As his driver and fireman went to go get some cocoa, the mist began to roll in. Then, a ghostly engine appeared in front of Edward. "Ah, we meet again, old friend." The engine hissed. "I still wonder why you continue to try to beat that record. You know Gordon's already beaten it." The engine seemingly gave a sigh. "You did accomplish something, though." The engine hissed again. "You made history. Even though you weren't the nicest engine in life, and you did something very, very stupid. You costed the lives of over 300 men and women and even children. And poor Sudbury." The engine seemingly wimped. "However, I can forgive you. But you need to prove that you want to be forgiven. Especially to God. So, are you going to leave, or are you still going to try to beat that record?" The engine hissed again, seemingly giving not a response. Well, if you still try to beat that record, I wish you luck. But you should know that you probably will never be able to achieve it. But I still wish you luck regardless. The engine gave a whistle as thanks and puffed away, only to disappear in a flash. Alright, come on, Edward. We need to set off, or else we'll be late. Yes, of course. Edward never did tell him about the encounter with the Knapford Express those months ago, and never told him about that night. Happy Halloween, everyone.